So how do I know that this is like a trend that's going to take a while? So again, I don't want anybody to freak out yet. But when I started my company, it was 2015. Oh, wait, it was 2015. Let's go back here. Right here, I did a little bit of data collection. It was a little rough. I was just scratching it out on a spiral binder. And I wanted to know how many of the properties in Berkeley had virtual tours. And like, if they had a virtual tour, was it a video? Was it a slideshow? Like, what were they calling it? Did they have any Matterport tours? That was one of the things I really wanted to know. And then I just did the same study, so it was about 40 properties in 2015, and I did it again just last week. I wanted to see, like, what do we have to compare by? And so this echoes the data that we saw earlier, but basically, in the current world that we're living in, like, we went in our market from 55% of the properties having professional photography 7 years ago to 88% of them having professional photography. Like, 100% of them have photography. Like, they all have photos. Like, you're not getting out of this without taking a photograph, right? Like, that's what they all need to get on the MLS. So that's your main thing, right? Like, that's the absolute thing you have to have. But we went up 33% in 7 years on photographs. So that's kind of at the peak. Like, it's not going to go up much higher. What, it's going to go to 100%? Cool. What about virtual tours? So this is really interesting. Virtual tours over the last 7 years in my market, based on this very small sample set, well, they went down 8%. But of the tours that were in my market, 90% were Matterport. So I thought that was totally crazy. I was like, wow, man, they really got this market cornered. And they do. You know, they are seen as sort of the gold standard of virtual tours right now. But there were 0 Matterport tours in 2015. There was no market. Like, I remember I got like a Google AdWords campaign going in 2015 from like Matterport services, and there were no leads, right? There's none. Nobody was searching for Matterport. Nobody was searching for virtual tours that way. So I have had many years to learn how people are looking for media, and it's not the way I originally thought it was. Another trend, I didn't actually look at this before because I don't think it was there. That's probably why I didn't measure it. But websites, 41% of these properties and listings had websites, 32% had video, 17% had floor plans. These are places where, you know, that's a growth potential. You know, so media is changing, but nowhere on this deck do you see augmented or virtual reality, right? Like, at least on Zillow, because the infrastructure hasn't evolved for us to be able to use that stuff in any easy way. Like, I can't tell my client, like, okay, yeah, totally, I'll send you your links for your tours, and yeah, and then Zillow or Redfin or any of these, like, then we'll make sure that they have that AR view, right? Like, so that they can look at something in augmented reality. It's slow to adapt. It's slow to adapt to these changes, even though it's there. So what I did, and I thought this would be really helpful for everybody, was like, look, you can get into the weeds so fast on these technologies, and it kind of goes like quickly from like stuff that's approachable to like, oh my gosh, I need like a computer science degree to be able to do this. And so instead, what I was like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a bit of a roundup of companies and solutions in what I'm calling the real estate metaverse ecosystem. And this is my 1.0. So that means that as we go up, you know, into this new era of the web, these are companies and these are solutions that are going to be important to you. I'll get out of the way if folks are taking pictures. Like, it's going to be, these are things that you can do now and you can experiment with now, a lot of them for free. But the thing is that many of them are apps. So you're still somewhat in a closed cycle. You're not totally in a, I would say like an open metaverse. Like, a lot of this is app-based. But let's see. I'm going to show you a bunch of examples. But like, if anybody in the room here is already using Arico Theta or Matterport, or, you know, if they are using, you know, a DSLR, like everyone in this room, I think, that means that you are a reality capture person. You're a reality capture specialist. Your JPEGs and your other media can become other things. And it can become other things by using and experimenting with this stuff in this quadrant here, in the innovation quadrant. There's some companies you might recognize, some you might not. And I think that's okay. Like I want there to be some stuff that's new and some stuff that might be unfamiliar, so you learn about other things that are really cool and might be fun for you to experiment with. And then here, metaverse touch points. VR, like wearing a headset, right? Like being in a headset is often sort of seen as the same as metaverse, but really it's just a touch point. It's like, the Alexa in your house is not the internet, it's connected to the internet. It's a touch point into the content. It's the same thing with a headset, right? Or your earbuds, like I'm sure a lot of people here have earbuds, and that's where you're gonna get spatial audio and spatial content that might guide you through a property. So that's a way that you get into this content, but it is not, in and of itself, that is not the thing. It's just an access point. And then payments and crypto wallets. These might be something relevant for you. I mean, I don't know how many folks have experimented with this in the audience. Maybe you can put it in Slido and send me some notes. I'll talk about it later. But I would be curious to know how many folks are actually, working in or have experimented with this. And then virtual real estate. We're going to go over that in a second.